Welcome into the Silver and Black Show. Erin Coscarelli alongside All-Pro tackle Lincoln Kennedy. As you all may know by now, the Raiders have released Henry Ruggs III after a terrible tragedy that took place earlier this week. I know that I speak for Lincoln when I say our thoughts immediately went to the victim and her family. Head coach Rich Bisaccia spoke to the media about the situation. Let's hear from Coach.
First of all, we want to express our sincere condolences to the victim's family. A person lost their life yesterday morning, and we think it's important to keep focus on that as we talk about this tragic event. We're deeply saddened for everyone affected, especially the victim's family. That being said, we love Henry Ruggs and want him to know that. His terrible lapse in judgment of the most horrific kind. It's something that he'll have to live with the rest of his life. The gravity of the situation is not lost on anyone here, and we understand and respect the loss of life.
I know personally for me, I have been sad all week, and I know the people in this building have been sad all week. Lincoln, as a former player, you of course have been in many different locker rooms, dealing with many different situations. How do you feel as a player in this Raiders locker room right now?
Well, first of all, you see, you come in and you question what's next. Where do you go from here? A lot of times you look to your coaches, you look to your leaders, your captains, the senior members of the team, and you ask what's going on, or you talk to them to get their feelings about it. Everyone deals with emotions differently, you see. So there's one thing to point out. One of the things that I can remember reflecting on was the schedule, the routine. As a professional athlete, or as an athlete in general, you have a routine that you know where you're going to be on Mondays, you know where you're going to be on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, so on and so forth. So getting into that routine, into that normal work week, helps you to find a way to deal with what you're going through emotionally. And everyone has their own level. And you'll have guys who reach out to other guys, or hopefully reach out to family members to talk about it. You know, we often stress with mental health, don't internalize it. You know, bring it out, talk to someone about it. Yeah. So a lot of times you have to seek that sort of guidance by other people. You usually rely on your teammates and your coaches.
Well, this team's been through quite a bit of adversity just in the span of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What would you do in the way of giving advice if a player looked to you and said, you know, how do I move forward? How do I navigate? Because you did touch on routine and schedule and how healthy that is. If someone were to ask you for advice, what would you tell them?
I say, look, if we had time, let's go get a spirited workout. Pump up the tunes in the weight room, stuff like that. Use the hot tub, let's talk it out, let's do it. Or when you go out and practice, you find a way to get upbeat on a practice level, because we got to get ready for the New York Giants. Life is going to continue to go on, and it's not putting aside what happened with this family, but as family, you want to help take care of one another, and that's why I say you rely on a lot of people around you.
And maybe this could bring that locker room even closer together if possible. One of the leaders, of course, on this team, Raiders quarterback Derek Carr, he addressed the media Wednesday and spoke about the team's mindset heading into Week 9. Take a listen.
Whether it's fair or not, I have to compartmentalize, and I have a job to do. These are two totally different situations. Some similar emotions, some very different emotions. But the message has to stay the same. Honestly, I don't want it to right now. If I'm selfish, I don't want it to. I want to say a lot of different things, but we have a game this week, and I've got a job to do, and so do the guys in that locker room. And from that aspect, from a football aspect, I hate to talk about both in the same thing, but it's weird, and that's what we're doing, right? From a football aspect, every man in that locker room kind of feels the same way, but we have work to do. We had to come out and practice. We had film study Monday and Tuesday, you know, like we have, you know, all of these things that we still have to do, right? And so I don't know the right way to handle it, but I'm doing my best.
A very honest and authentic Derek Carr right there. And of course, it has to be so hard to try and find the right tone in moving forward. But at the same time, the season doesn't stop. And like Derek said, he and his team have a job to do on Sunday. Again, of course, our hearts are with the victim's family and everyone involved in this tragic event. Lincoln and I will be back with more Silver and Black after the break. Stick with us.
The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, nonstop flights. Book now, only at Allegiant.com.
Yeah, we always talk about opportunity, and it comes in a lot of different forms. And this is an opportunity for Zay, not the opportunity he was looking for, but we've always felt real strong about Zay Jones and his abilities as a receiver and abilities as to play the Z position. And he's had a very good week of practice, but he's had good weeks of practice, in the past. So if you were to talk to not only just Derek, but the rest of the players on offense, I'm talking every position, O-line, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks, they've got all the confidence in the world in Zay, and we do as well as the staff. So, we're very, very thankful to have him, and we're eager to see what he can do.
Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. Erin and Link with you. You heard offensive coordinator Greg Olsen talk about wideout Zay Jones and an opportunity, of course, who no doubt will be asked to step up in a big way starting this Sunday. And when called upon, he has showed up. Let's not forget Week 7, 3rd and 15 in the first quarter, caught that deep pass for 43 yards and the first down. Have you seen enough, Link, from Zay Jones to feel confident in putting him in the starting role?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
because he's been on the field, he's been activated for games, and as you mentioned, you talked about that game that he had a big catch, and not only this one in the first game of the year, but Zay Jones has shown me that he has enough ability and enough wherewithal to be a place out there on the football field.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in addition to Zay, we look, of course, at some other players and options. We have in-house, we talked about this earlier, bringing up some players from the practice squad. Mm-hmm. They just recently brought up that guy, Dylan Stoner. When you look at what we have in terms of options, do you feel good at the wide receiver position? How do we feel?
For this part of the junction of the season, yes, because the wide receiver options have been on practice squad, so they're familiar with the terminology. They're familiar with Derek and the other quarterbacks. More importantly, they're also familiar with the speed of the game for the Raiders, and so that's important. The timing between quarterback and wide receiver are so important, and because they're part of the system, they went through the offseason, they went through preseason, they have that down rather than picking up somebody off the streets.
My follow-up question, you know what it is. Would you rather look in-house for filling a wide receiver need or really any need of position, or do you potentially think maybe free agency could solve this problem?
I'd much rather do in-house. 3 reasons. 1, they're actually under contract. 2, they've already spent an offseason with the team. And 3, they're already in position for you to elevate and make them a part of the team without having any downtime. Those are critical when it comes to using the practice squad. That's what the practice squad is for, created for. So you have people in reserve when you need them, and that's exactly why they're being called up.
That makes a lot of sense.
I try to make sense.
You're very smart, Lincoln.
Well, thank you.
Very, very smart.
Appreciate it.
I have good news, though. Week 9, we're getting back a very important person. That important person we didn't have Week 7 against the Philadelphia Eagles, Mr. Darren Waller.
Right.
Are you happy? How happy should we be to finally have this guy back? I mean, how big and important is he to this offense?
Well, when you look at Derek Carr's stats throughout the season, he spread the ball around, and Darren Waller is a big part of that. He's one of those what I call tweeners. You can't cover him with the corner. You can't cover him with a linebacker. You have a hard time covering with the safety. He really makes it difficult on defenses, so that's an added weapon out there on the football for Derek to find.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy you guys talk about getting bracketed, taking double coverage, yep. Right? All of those things contributes to the offense and opening things up for the run
others,
game.
Absolutely,
for
and other people, and
other
other receivers, yeah.
There you go. Even though Foster Moreau did a very nice job in relief. All right, coming up, we're talking defense on the other side of the break and the production we've seen out of our 5th round draft pick in Nate Hobbs. Stick around. All right, welcome back to the show. Let's take a look at Pro Football Focus mid-season all-pro team and what that looks like, because we do have a lot of silver and black on this list, Link. I'm curious to get your take mid-season awards, and 5 players from the Silver and Black. Should be more, actually, to be honest. But when you take a look, you got, of course, Derek Carr, Max Crosby, the sack master. That's what I've been calling him. Casey Hayward in. I like that. Nate Hobbs, our 5th-round draft pick, the rookie. And A.J. Cole from our special teams. When you take a look at this list, what do you think? How are we feeling? Are you upset about who's not on the list?
Yes, and I was just about to go there. You read my body language. I'm a little bit perturbed the fact that one Denzel Perriman is not a part of that list. Look, right now through the season, this part of the season, he's got 81 tackles. That's the most he's had his entire 7-year career.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a big snub. Playing at an all-pro level, I think he should have been a part of that, that series right there. That list, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you have new free agent acquisition, Casey Hayward, on that team.
Right.
And a lot of contributions from Gus Bradley bringing guys in. Brandon Faison, of course. You have the Casey Hayward and Denzel Perryman, like you mentioned. So that's really exciting. Should be more, but
Should be more.
I digress. A guy that was on that list, take a look at the 5th-round draft pick, Nate Hobbs, who has been an absolute star as a rookie. He won the job in training camp, has only gotten better each and every week. Hobbs has only allowed 153 yards and has yet to surrender a touchdown in coverage. Let's take a look at his journey at becoming a very standout player for Las Vegas. Looking to improve their roster, the Raiders entered the 2021 season with many new faces. A name that kept coming up, the unheralded cornerback out of Illinois.
I got a call from one of our cross-check scouts after the Illinois Pro Day. And he said, Mike, do me a favor and put your eyes on Nate Hobbs. He just ran 4.45, he jumped 41 inches, he tested better than we thought he was gonna test, and I'm not sure if we got the right grade on him. I got off the phone and literally put his tape on right there, and I was like, man. So I run downstairs, say, Milo, get your eye on this guy, please, okay? And tell me what you think today. He comes running back up in about an hour and a half. We got something.
My senior year, I had like 2 injuries, and the COVID year was short anyway. We only played about 6 games. I was talking to my mother one day. She was like, I think you ready for the draft. It just clicked in my head. I was like, all right, I'm gonna bet on myself.
With the 167th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Nate Hobbs, defensive back, Illinois.
The first team I ever heard about was the Raiders. Like when I got drafted, I was looking through pictures, and then I came across this picture. I was like 3-4 years old. It's like my favorite picture of me and my mother. She was kissing me on the cheek, and I had on a Raiders jersey, 81 Raiders jersey. It was crazy. Where I'm from, people don't make it to the NFL.
It feels unbelievable. I can just tell the tradition that's in here is gonna be injected into my veins once I get on that field. So I'm just ready to get started.
Already in his first year in the NFL, Hobbs made his presence felt immediately, consistently rating amongst the top 15 rookies in the NFL.
I love Nate. He's super competitive, and one thing I've loved about him is his confidence, and he's going to be, I think, a really good player in this league. Hopefully a great one.
Growing up in the inner city of Louisville, Kentucky, Nate faced major adversity at the young age of 12.
I woke up and my sister was yelling. She was like, wake up, he's not waking up. And then I'm like, who? She was like, Daddy. So I ran downstairs and we was trying to give him CPR and stuff like that, but it wasn't working. He was just, he was laying there, he was passed away. That was definitely one of the hardest things in my younger life. I know I represent my family, I know I represent the Raiders in anything I do. So I just try to represent him in a way that people know when they see me, they see him. He was a real good person, selfless. And I try to be selfless like that, and I try to do anything for my teammates in the way he would provide and grind, because he worked like 2-3 jobs to support my family, because we never had a lot of money growing up. It was 6 of us under one roof. We were living off $25,000 a year. It just drives me, honestly. It fuels my fire. Everything's meant to be. So I just try to make him proud, from the sky.
I love you, Daddy.
Resiliency became Nate's only option. Now without his father, Nate looked to his mother to guide him.
My mama, she means the world to me. Like, She's the most resilient person I know. That's why I feel like I'm such a resilient person. I've seen her do so much and go through so much and still keep a smile on her face. All the while, just always being supportive and trying to help me. So I owe her everything. She's the greatest woman I ever met, honestly.
They don't know where I'm from. They don't know what I did to get here. I bet you I'm a song on my mom.
It's good pressure off the edge. The sack in the back, Nate Hobbs.
Expectations for me is to be a player that the Raiders can rely on, they can trust, and they know if I'm on that field that they're going to get everything out of me and somebody who's going to do what they're supposed to do and make the plays that come to them. So whether that's on special teams, defense, I think I just want to be a player the Raiders can rely on. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can't take it for granted. So every day I wake up, I just give it my all. Honestly, you got to come with the mindset, I'm going to compete no matter what, because it's competition out there. We're playing with the best of the best.
Hobbs is a guy that is playing fast. I mean, it's almost from day one that he stepped in, so very pleased with his progress.
When you have a nickel that can tackle, that can cover, he looks like a savvy vet out there. So he's off to a really good start.
Hobbs is a baller, man. He's showing up everywhere, destroying people. You see that passion for playing football.
So what is silver and black? It's crazy to me. It's a crazy feeling. I love it. I actually like black too. That's one of my favorite colors. I think I'm addicted to it. It's not making it any better than I'm a Raider. The fans have started to embrace me too, and it's nothing better, honestly. I love it here. I'm happy to be here. I love the team that we building. And it just means a lot that I could be a part of this culture.
I'm just grateful to be here, man.
Just win, baby. That's how you want to go out there and do it, just win.
Raiders, just win, baby.
The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by 1800 Tequila, the best taste in tequila and official partner of the Raiders. And by Chevron. No gasoline gives you better mileage than Chevron with Techron. Chevron, together ahead.
And talking about this team, this is very well balanced, very well coached, very explosive team. They've got a lot of weapons on offense. They got some playmakers on defense to really get after you in the pass game, can play very advantageous in coverage, and they're very well coached. They got a very good special teams core. I'd say, since Richie's taken over, Richie's a guy I've known for some time now. He's done a terrific job. He's very situationally aware. He's very fundamentally sound in terms of how he coaches. He believes in a good balanced offensive attack, good complementary football. That's showing up in a couple games he's been in charge.
Well, the Raiders face the 2-6 Giants this week. New York head coach Joe Judge speaking ahead of this week's matchup against the Raiders. Las Vegas coming off the bye, Link 5-2, head to the East Coast, early game. When you think of the Giants in New York, what do you think about? Because they obviously haven't had Saquon at their disposal since, I want to say, week 5. So what say you?
It's interesting that you asked that because I'm going to throw you a little off. I'm going to go with defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. Now, this is a guy who came up in the offseason, was interviewed for a couple of head coaching spots. I think he's done a phenomenal job with relatively no-name defense. They're playing pretty well, and that's one of the things that stand out. Not only their defensive tackle pressure, Leonard Williams and guys like that, but Patrick Graham has done a great job with this defense.
Speaking of the defense, I'm glad you went there because our Microsoft matchup of the week goes to these two. Derek Carr versus Leonard Williams. Maybe this is more of a question about the offensive line instead
Yeah, because Derek's not taking on Leonard Williams.
But what have you seen from the offensive line? They've had to go against Fletcher Cox just 2 weeks ago. So are you feeling more and more confident with the way this the line is gelled?
They have been coming together, and this is going to be another big challenge for them, that interior presence from the defensive tackles. Not just Leonard Williams. They get a lot of push up the center, but the offensive line has performed well in the last 2 games. Denver and Philadelphia. They're going to need to continue to perform because it's not going to get any easier as the season goes on.
Las Vegas is averaging 7 yards per play. They did keep Carr upright against Philly last week. As we look at the other side of the ball, the Raiders defense facing a quarterback that can run the ball, right? We actually have a soundbite from Gus Bradley talking about what his job is going to be this week. Let's take a listen.
I think that you can see on tape that he's getting better and better. You know, the decision making, I know that the turnovers are issues that, you know, happen with all teams, and everybody wants to alleviate that part of it. But the decision making, the poise that he plays with, he's a threat to run. And, you know, part of the bye week, we studied, you know, some of the things that we need to get better at. Our explosive runs were high at the beginning of the season. They've calmed down some, but some of the, you know, the explosive runs have been by quarterbacks scrambling and quarterback runs, and he's no different. Here we have another task where a guy's got over 200 yards rushing. So you put all that, he's definitely a threat that we have to understand and affect some of the things we do coverage-wise.
May or may not have Saquon Barkley. He was removed from the COVID list, but that ankle injury, where he has not been available since week 5, may pose a problem. When you think of Daniel Jones, really quickly before we run out of time, how do you guard against this offense here?
You got to be disciplined in your lane assignments whenever you have a mobile quarterback that can do things like this with the RPO. You see how the defensive end got caught up inside. You cannot afford to let that happen. Whatever your responsibility is, you need to maintain that, especially when you're out against a mobile quarterback like Daniel Jones.
Not the first mobile quarterback we've faced. We've had a few so far this week. Well, the Raiders looking to go 6-2 here in Week 9. I can't believe we're already in Week 9 of the NFL 2021 season. That'll do it for us. For Lincoln Kennedy, I am Erin Coscarelli. Thanks for watching the Silver and Black Show. We'll see you next time.